So a few days before free agency got underway, the Baltimore Ravens, they say, you know what? We got to make our first big move, and we got to retain one of our own. It has been a lot of speculation, a lot of back and forth on what was going to happen with Ronnie Stanley this offseason, and this thing came down to the wire pretty much, because they got it done a couple of days before Ronnie Stanley was going to be able to look at some other deals and some other offers from other teams. And what we had been saying, like, hey, if Ronnie Stanley would have made it to March 10th past 12 p.m. Eastern time, yeah, he was gone. He was gone because the Baltimore Ravens just simply would not be able to pay him what other teams could, especially the Patriots. And then Ronnie Stanley might have he said he wanted to stay with the Ravens, but he could have even looked at the Chiefs like, oh, like, hey, all they do over there is go to Super Bowls. We done came a little close, but not close enough. You know what? I want to go. But he stayed. Ravens got it done. So shout out to Eric DeCosta. Shout out to Ronnie Stanley. This was one, when it first came out a couple of days ago and I saw it, I said, okay, because it's a 3-year deal for $60 million. And I believe it's $44 million guaranteed. I believe Twitter is down right now for me. I don't know if it's down for y'all, so I can't check all of that stuff right now. But with them retaining Ronnie Stanley, I was back and forth on it. Reason I was back and forth on it is because hey, like Ronnie Stanley, the offensive line, everything goes through the offensive line with Baltimore Ravens offense. You know, obviously you got Lamar Jackson. You want to protect him as best as you can. You got Derrick Henry. You got your pass catchers. You got all of that stuff in the offense. If you ain't got a good offensive line, then everything, it can just fail. It makes life that much harder for everybody from top to bottom on the offense. So I was cool with that. So I'm like, all right, I get it. Ronnie Stanley, bring him back. Great. Love it. Then where the part that I was back on was just the injuries. That's my only concern with Ronnie Stanley. And I know I've seen a lot of people say, oh, Ronnie Stanley down the stretch, he wasn't playing that good of football. For me, I'm not really worried about that like that. I think if you get that left guard situation taken care of, you get the right guard situation taken care of, we talk about that later though, then it can make everybody's job easier. Tyler Linderbaum, Ronnie Stanley, and then Roger Rosengarten too. I feel like the interior, those guard positions, that's where we be struggling at the most. Not to say that other areas didn't struggle at times, because they did, but at guard, I feel like that's where we had the most inconsistencies at. Because Daniel Falele, while he had some high highs, he certainly did, the lows, it was pretty rough at times. With Pat McCary, he has some high highs as well. But then the lows, especially toward the end of the season, it got really, really bad in my opinion. It got really, really bad. And we just saw it like glaring a lot throughout the end of the season. But anyway, with Ronnie Stanley, that would be my only concern, is the injury history. But hopefully it is just that. It's history. Hopefully it's in the past. Hopefully we ain't even got to talk about it no more. It ain't going to be a thing no more. And we will get the Ronnie Stanley that we got this past season. Ronnie Stanley, because the Ravens, they worked with him a lot. They kept him around, and the timing was really unfortunate for him, because he first got that big contract and it was like, yeah, Ronnie Stanley. And then not even a week later, TJ Watt rolled his ankle. It was never the same after. For years, he was never the same. For years. And then we would hear, oh, Ronnie Stanley's coming back, but then he would come back and he wouldn't look good, and then he couldn't make it, he couldn't play, and he would be out for a while. He would just miss so much time over and over and over and over again with that ankle. But then finally this last offseason, like, oh, Ronnie Stanley's healthy, he's good to go. This the best shape I ever felt in my life, in my whole career. But it ended up being true, because Ronnie Stanley did not miss a single game this year, played every single game, played every single playoff game, all of that. And we were like, oh my God, we love this. We can't believe this. We'll take it from Ronnie Stanley. But before all that started, he took a significant pay cut from the Baltimore Ravens. Now, again, he made a lot of money with the Ravens, and he wasn't playing a lot. So he made a lot of bread, but he was not on the field too often for the Baltimore Ravens. But they signed him to a contract. And when you sign him to contracts, especially that guaranteed money, they're going to get their bread. But Ronnie Stanley wasn't out there. So you could say he did the Ravens a favor by taking a significant pay cut this last season. But at the same time, Ravens, they have been doing him some favors as well, because they could have got him on up out of there a long time ago. So it went hand in hand. So he sort of almost bet on himself in a way, because he took off the last couple of years from his previous deal. And then after this season, he was going to become a free agent. And he was looking like one of the top tackles, free agents that was going to hit the market. But the Ravens said, no, you ain't hitting nothing at all. So he bet on himself, and it ended up working out. Because I would have never thought like, and I know that the tackle market, it not fluctuates. It just goes up. Everything goes up. The whole market goes up, especially with the salary cap going up. Everything goes up. But if you would have told me, Ronnie Stanley going to get paid $20 million a year this offseason, I would have been like, from who? From who? Like, if you would have told me that going into last season, that, next offseason, Ronnie Stanley going to get paid $20 million a year. And especially if you would have told me it's from the Ravens, I don't know about that, buddy. But he got it. He got it. So now let's, again, just hope that Ronnie Stanley, he stays healthy. Health is wealth. Health is the name of the game when it comes to number 79. As long as he's healthy, everything will be all right. I ain't worried about his play. I ain't worried about none of that. As long as he stays healthy. Whatever regimen he did last offseason, to do it again. Don't change it. Don't fix it. Don't tweak it. Don't do nothing. Stick with it because he was out there. And maybe it's some surgery. Maybe it's some offset. I don't care what it is. Stick with it. Don't mess it up. Don't fix what's not broken because you were not broken last year, and we want you to stay not broken. So whatever you did, because last year even they had this man catching touchdowns last year in practice. Ronnie Stanley was a secret weapon in practices last year. So I'm like, no, don't change nothing. Not a thing. Stick with whatever worked last year because it worked. But Ronnie Stanley being back, the Ravens show like, hey, we willing to cough up that bread. They showed that they were willing to pay up. Because I wasn't sure about this one, man. I wasn't sure the Ravens were going to get this one done. I really, really wasn't, because we had heard from different people saying, oh, yeah, Ravens and Ronnie Stanley, they're going to get the deal done. But as time passed and as we got closer to today, I was like, ooh, I don't know, man. We getting there. We creeping slowly there, but they obviously hadn't made it to the finish line yet. But, boom, they got it done a couple days ago. And this is a big move, man, because it brings consistency to Ravens' offensive line. And that, especially over these past couple of years, is something that we absolutely have not had at all. It's been different offensive lines every year for the past, 2-3 years, man. And that's not good. That's not good, especially when you got your franchise quarterback. If you rotating quarterbacks and whatever, and you got all these random offensive line, okay, whatever. But if you got your guy, then you need to have that offensive line solidified as best as you can. You really, really do. So now with Ronnie Stanley, he's in place for the next couple of years. Roger Rosengarten, he's in place for the next couple of years. Our guy Linda Flender, hey, that 5th-year option getting picked up, but I expect him to get signed any day now. So they have him in place for the next couple of years. But as far as our guards, Daniel Falele, I think, what does he have? Is he in the last year of his deal? I think he actually might be. I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think he might be on the last year of his deal. And left guard, who's it going to be? We have no clue. Pat McCarry, he getting ready to be gone. Probably might get signed in the next couple of minutes. Ben Cleveland, he definitely going to be gone. Harbaugh already ain't like him. And with everything he had going on, he definitely ain't coming back. So Ravens are going to definitely have some options there. But it is definitely something that they are going to have to get taken care of ASAP, because they got to do a better job than they did last year, in my opinion, of having an offensive line and really actually having the 5 best guys out there, not favorites, not you got to have the 5 best. That is something that I've been saying with this last year, a lot of it was not on John Harbaugh, but some of the parts that were not always playing the best players at every single position. One of those positions was at the guard position, and another one of those positions was at cornerback. They did not make the best decisions when it came to the best plan. So that's just my opinion, though. So this year, I would really, really hope that gets fixed, because if you want to be truly, truly be the best team that you possibly can be, then having the best people out there is a requirement. You can't play favorites. You can't play politics. You can't do all that. You got to play your best players. But getting Ronnie Stanley back, you're getting back one of your best players. Now, again, all we ask for is health. Now, I know health is wealth, and that's a big question to ask. But Let's make it happen, Ronnie. Ronnie, shout out to him. Shout out to EDC for getting this done. Shout out to the Baltimore Ravens for making a very, very nice, I can't even say it's an attempt to solidify the offensive line, because you're doing that. You're solidifying the offensive line. You just got a few more spots to show up. But let's see how they address it this offseason.